All right, I think we're good to get started here. Everyone, welcome to the OneSignal webinar. Today we're going to have a segment on automated messaging. Going to run through a couple different use cases and how you can leverage OneSignal's automated messaging function to send automated messages to your audience. Now we do have a plethora of different businesses that use us, whether it's an e-commerce site, news and media for breaking news. If you're just a regular blog, does not matter. You can leverage automated messaging on all of these platforms, and it would take the load off of yourselves from sending the messages manually. So with automated messages, you can obviously leverage the API. Today, I'm going to show you how to do it via the dashboard so we can have a visual key for it. I'm going to share my screen. And what we're going to see is the OneSignal dashboard that you should all be familiar with. This is where we house all of your websites and apps. So if we go ahead and we click on an application, so we're going to click on our demo app, you get a little bit more detailed view of the dashboard. From here is where you have access to your messages, to your users, your delivery, and of course your settings. The first thing we want to do when we create an automated message is we're going to create a template. So to create a template, we go into messages, and then from here, you have access to A/B tests, templates, and automated messages. Within this, you're going to click on the templates tab to create a new template or to see your current templates that are available. So we have a couple different templates available. From here, we'll show you how many were opened, how many were sent, and what the conversion rate for these were. So the first thing that we're going to do is a automated message for a drip campaign. This can be used across all platforms, whether it's a blog, e-commerce, media site. Basically, what a drip campaign is, it's very similar to email. If someone has been inactive on your site for X amount of days, you can go ahead and create a segment of users who have been inactive to create an automated message to go out to your audience to re-engage them back on the platform. So the first thing we're going to do is create the segment. So we'll go into users, and then we're going to create a new segment. So I already did this here, but I'm going to show you what we do. Within this, OneSignal tracks a few different things by default. So one of them being last session. If we click on last session, we can then do a less than or greater than segment in hours. So for example, we can do 72 hours, we can do 168 hours. We can use this to leverage a time in which we have clients that are inactive. So what I did was a 3-day segment, which we have 230 users, a 7-day segment, which is 223 users, and then a 12-day segment, which is 212 users. As users continue to fall in and out of this segment, it will update in real time. So what I mean by that is, let's start with a 3-day segment. We send the automated message out to our audience. As users click on it, they will no longer be inactive as they will re-engage onto your site. OneSignal's SDK will see that they have come back, and then they would fall out of that segment or out of that drip campaign. If we go into the messages tab, let's create a template. So we'll click on templates, new push template. So we're going to name this as 3-day inactive drip campaign. So let's do it as if we're the OneSignal blog. So OneSignal blog, and then we're going to add an emoji. Emojis boost engagement within messages. Further, in this point, if you want to translate the message, just click on the pencil and you'll see your audience and what language they're speaking. You can click on them. If we want to translate it, we have the ability of doing so. We just click and then we click select there. Then we're going to craft our message. So let's do, we miss you. Come see our new blog posts. This is what the notification will look like on Android, on iOS, on web for Mac operating systems, for Windows, and for Androids via web push. These are all the different platforms you can integrate with. Going down, you can then customize all the options. So whether it's sound, category, media for iOS, say we want to add an image. For Android, we can add an LED color, accent color. You can customize anything that the operating system allows. As always, remember rule of thumb, if you're not sure what one of these are or how to implement them, our documentation shows in real time on the right. So you can just go over, click on it, and it'll link you directly to the documentation in which will show you how to get this set up. Going down, we can continue doing this for Google Chrome, Safari, Edge, Mozilla. Then you set the icon for the notification. Just going to leave it for default as of right now. And then we can actually set a launch URL. So what I'll do is I'm going to set the launch URL for onesignal.com. And then if we go to the blog, we're going to copy this link and we're going to paste it as a launch URL. Same thing works for deep linking. If you want to link them back to a certain part of your app, same thing. You just put that all there in the launch URL and they will be redirected once they click on the app. Going down, you can set a time to live. So say if we're doing a drip campaign and we're going to have a few different steps, so 3 days, 7 days, 12 days, let's set the default duration for 3 days, because if the user does not look at that, you don't want them receiving all 3 drip campaigns. You'll receive them on a 3-day, and then you'll set the time to live for 3 days, and then the difference between the duration of 3 days and 7 days is 4 days. So we'll set that for 4 days, and then whatever the other steps of your drip campaign are, you would set your time to live there. We'll then save our template. 3-day inactive drip campaign. So I have everything set up, customized exactly how I want. We'll then go into the automated messaging function and we'll create a new automated message. From here, we're going to set the name of the drip campaign. So we have our template set, that's our 3-day inactive drip. Now we'll set this as drip campaign for August 7th, 2019. We're going to select our template that we just created, 3-day inactive drip, and then we're going to select the deliver users in this segment. So remember, the first thing we did was create the segment. We're going to set this as 3 days inactive. If you want to exclude certain users from this, so say you also track other data on your users, whether it's with data tags or with, say they're a VIP user, they have multiple sessions, you can set certain users to be excluded from this segment. From here, you can then send immediately, which would go out to your audience immediately. You can set intelligent delivery, which is an internal system that we have. We'll take the time that they're most likely to be active on your site, and we'll send it at that point in time. So then that'll be the best time for engagement. And lastly, you can optimize by time zone. So say, for example, we're in Pacific time here. We want to send it at 9 a.m. and then 9 a.m. Central time and then 9 a.m. Eastern time. This can also help take a load off of your website, your servers. That being if you don't want to have 1 million or 100,000 or whatever subscribers that you do have go to your site all at once. This will do a good job of parsing it up by respective time zone in hour increments. So for our purposes, we're just going to send it immediately. Then you can deliver it once unless the user returns to the app or hours have elapsed. So what I would recommend, if we're doing a 3-day, 7-day, if you're doing a multiple step drip campaign, just leave it the way it is. You don't need to check these settings because once the user does return to the app, our SDK will notice that. If you do want to check this, it's not going to affect much. It's just when the user returns to the app, they will fall out of that segment as our SDK will see that their user has come back, and then their last active date will not be in the 3-day and then the 7-day and the 12-day drip campaign. Going down, we're going to confirm all of our rules. So it's going to give you a summary of what's going out. It's going to have 3 days inactive. Last session was more than 3 days. And then we're going to create it. And then there's our drip campaign right there. So I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but once we click, you'll go back to the blog. So that's our inactive drip campaign. Very useful for keeping users re-engaged onto your site. Another use case that you can use automated messaging on, is cart abandonment. So this will take a little bit more dev work of getting some data tags implemented, but once it's set up, you're gonna have the ability to do cart abandonment on signups, on e-commerce, on anything that you want the user to complete the journey, but they never got to that point. So same thing on this. The first thing we're gonna do is create a segment. So we don't have any data tags set up on here, but say for example, there's a button on your website called Add to Cart. What we're gonna do is we would set up a data tag for that specific function. So if we give you an example, say we go to a website, we're gonna go to adidas.com, which is a OneSignal client. We go in and we go to men's running shoes. And then we click on a shoe and we click add to bag. We click our size is not there, but let's just click 10.5. And then we've successfully added to cart. So what I did was just click a button on the website. If we get out of there and we go back to our website, under user tags, you would have button or whatever you have as the key is equal to clicked or is equal to true. And you can set further rules here. So exists, does not exist. You're able to set that up where a user would then fall into that particular segment that you have created. So for example, I'm just gonna use a random segment to do this, but we'll go back into the messages tab. We'll go into the templates and we're gonna create a cart abandonment template. We'll click new push template and we'll call it cart abandon. And then here will be the title. So another key thing here that you can use, and we'll send some follow-up links to our documentation, or you can actually find them in the best practices part of our documentation. When setting up the messages, if you don't want to set it up for each individual item on your site, you can classify them using brackets. So say for example, it's shoes versus belts versus pants versus shirts. You're able to set that up with a bracket of whatever the product is. So if this was product, where you do like, hi, you left your product behind. Click here to go back to your cart. Here, you can then put an emoji of a shopping cart. You can do a crying face. You can do thumbs up. You can set it up where you would have your value in there, and then you would be able to click and re-engage back to your cart. I did see a couple questions come in. I'm going to answer all questions at the end. Just run through this, and then we'll go through a couple questions on what you guys have, and I can get into a little bit more detail. So we have our thing set up. So we have product, and then we go down. Again, you can customize all these options. For the launch URL, the best thing to do would be to link them back directly to the cart. So for us, we're just going to launch you back to onesignal.com. And then from here, again, you can set a time to live. We would save the template, and then we'll create the scheduling rules within the automated messaging tab. So we go to automated, new automatic message. We're going to do cart abandonment. Let's set our template, cart abandon. We're going to click a segment of users. So again, this segment of users is going to be the segment we created with the key values for the data tags. So once a user clicks on that button, they fall into that segment. And then once the user launches back, you can use our update tags function to remove the tag from them, and then they will fall out of that segment. If they don't remove the tag will stay there. And then you can either choose to engage them again via another automated message, or use that to segues into different drip campaigns or different marketing messages on getting more tactics on bringing them back to your site and re-engaging them. So for here, I'm just going to click new user as the segment to send to. We're then going to set a delivery function again, so we can send it immediately, intelligent delivery, or optimized by time zone. For cart abandonment, I do recommend using intelligent delivery. Sometimes it's not best for, hey, like I added something to my cart and then I left your site and then you send me a notification like 30 seconds later. probably best to wait maybe 10, 15 minutes. They're browsing the rest of the site. Maybe they're shopping on a competitor's site. And then 10 minutes later, boom, they got a cart abandonment. So of course you can set this to your own specialty, whatever you want. We give you the power to do. So from here, we're just going to send it. Let's send this one by intelligent delivery. It's not going to come immediately. Intelligent delivery will send within a 24-hour time period. You can also optimize it by user time zone. So if you want to send it at a particular time, but this gives you the power of sending this when you want to. So let's do this. We want to send it at, let's do 11. Let's do 11:17 a.m. And then from here, let's create this and let's actually send this to all. So maybe we'll get to see it come in. And then now here again, we can choose our delivery options. I'm going to do the user as a return to the app. And then here, you have to have this set up, the values for product. And so say if it's like shoes or if it's for shirts, this gives a lot of legroom for you to be able to not have to go in there and do it for, okay, this is for shoes, this is for something else, this is for something else. This will just put whatever the product is in there. Further, you can actually have the icon be customized to that. A lot of this more advanced functionality will require the API, but we do have documentation on getting that set up. So once you do have everything in there, you'll just create, and your automated message is created. So right now we have about 30 seconds away from 11:17. The cart abandonment notification should re-engage us in the next minute. From here, these are two specific automated messaging, one for e-commerce, and again, the drip campaign could be used across the board. I'll go into one last simple drip campaign, or I'm sorry, automated message that you can set up. We'll go into users. We're gonna create a thank you notification. Oh, and there is the automated message there. Hi, you left behind your product. We click there, launches us back to our site. We'll close that out. Last automated message I'm going to show is one that I think everyone who uses push should have. So your audience with push, and the thing that sets push away from email is it's a lot more thoughtful. Push goes directly to your desktop, goes directly to your smartphone. With push, there's no spam folder, and it's easy to overdo it to your users with marketing messages. Like if you're sending constant updates, of course, this depends on what vertical you're in, but you never want to overload your clients with too many messages. That prompts for unsubscribes and not visiting back your site. So with marketing messages in particular, we recommend 1 to 2 a day at most. In order to get the best engagement back to your users and to prevent unsubscribes from happening. Further, what you can do is craft those messages to having them be short, thoughtful, re-engaging messages where they do click on something, it'll be re-engaged back to your site. So jumping into what I was gonna do, we're gonna create a segment to thank users for opting in for notifications for our site. So what we're gonna use this time is the first session. So we click first session, and we're gonna do first session was less than, and then we can do 1 hour. So this way, when we have the automated message show up, this will point whoever has been on our site for less than 1 hour, it's gonna prompt them with an automated message. We do have automated messaging set up already, and I already showed you a couple times to go through the template, but I'm just gonna take you to a site that I have an automated message set up on. Perfect, and let's act as if we are a first-time user. So let's reload this site. This is the OneSignal dropdown. As some of you are familiar with, you can customize the photo, the text, and then the text here. So we click allow. And then this is the prompt to show notifications. We're gonna click allow. And then here is our automated message. Thomas at OneSignal, thanks for subscribing. And then there's the icon that you have customized there. So from this is your automated message of thanking your users for subscribing. It is thoughtful. It shows them, hey, that you care. You're sending them a message saying, hey, thanks for subscribing. This is what a notification will look like as a test. A lot of our different platforms that use us across the world do use automated messaging. We think you can gain a lot of functionality out of it if you do use it too. From here, I'm going to field some questions and see if there's anything further I can touch on for you guys. So let me pull up our chat. Perfect. Let's see some questions. Alan, is there a limit to how many automated messages you can create? Nope, there's no limit. Whether you create them directly from the dashboard or the API, there is no limit on automated messages that you can create. Thanks for the question, Alan. Let's see, Lirini, is it possible to create a push segment based on user behavior on my site? Users searching for decoration, users browsing the party category. Yes, absolutely. So Lirini, you would use the data tag functionality, and that's how you actually gain more data on your users. So I can actually show you this here, where if we go into the users tab, and then we go to all users. This is where we collect all of your user data. So on all of our pay plans, it's all GDPR protected, DPA, it's all safe. This is where you can actually create all of your user data, and we'll start feeding it in here. So under the tags, these are the tags that have key value that you can create based on decoration, based on anything specific to your site. You can do this by page views and by button pushes. So as an example, if we go to CNN.com and we want to get an example of how to collect data. If we go to US, world, politics, business, opinion, these can all be keys. So they're the key. If we click on business, that's the first part of the tag. And then we can actually select a subcategory. Then you can click on markets, tech, media, success. So say we click on tech. This will then capture that, and then you're able to segment by that specific data within the users tab. So that's the key and then the value. Then you'll be able to create a segment based on that data. So just if we were to show you how to do that real quick, we go to new segment, we do user tag, and if you set it up as specific values or exists or is not or does not exist or by a timestamp, you would do, say the key is business is tech. And you would have that set up, and it does require a little bit coding, but once you have it set up, it will be there for good, and then you can create those users within that segment. Let's see in the chat. Yeah, Michelle, we're going to post this to our website of the recording of the webinar. So if you do want to access it at a later time, you will. And then let's go into the Q&A function and see. Okay, from Bruce. Hi, is it possible to schedule a notification every 5 or X minutes to the user, which are in an area based on location? If they're in that segment, they get the message. If they're not, they don't receive it until they get in that area again. Yes, absolutely. So a couple things need to be done for that. So you need to have within your app or your website to be able to track location. We do have specific documentation on that. But once you do have that, if a user enters the geofence in which you have created, the automated message will get sent to them. It will not get sent to them until they fall into that segment where they fall into that geofence. Vice versa, you can do it where if a user falls out of there and they leave the geofence, you're also able to trigger the notification. So you can do it when they enter and when they exit. Users who were on the site for less than an hour or less than 1 hour ago. Yeah, so again, you can set it up where if a user is been on the site for an hour or less and you want to send them an automated message, you're able to do that. Daniel, can you customize the opt-in prompt shown differently than the middle down prompt on the page? So no, the native prompt is whatever the browser has. So for the one that you saw on my site, that's specific to Google Chrome. We can't change that. We can only change the slider prompt, which we do recommend because it's a personal message from you to your user saying, hey, I want to send you messages based on XX and this. So you can have that customized. you can't change the native browser prompt, and they actually have to opt into that no matter what to be counted as a subscriber. From Ken, how many clicks on OneSignal push notifications show up in Google Analytics? All of them. So if you have any clicks and you have a direct integration with OneSignal to your Google Analytics page, you're able to answer that, to get that fed into Google Analytics and see all of that appear there. We'll also track it live in the delivery page. So if you go in for here example, we had a test notification sent to 235 people, 3 people clicked on it. We also have this directly fed into our Google Analytics page, so this will also get sent to Google Analytics. Let's take 1 or 2 more questions. From Daniel, is iOS just available on App Push or both? So iOS, as of right now, is exclusive to having a native app. For Web Push, you can send to Android devices, but you cannot send to iOS devices. iOS 13 is coming out. They may open up the functionality. If that does happen, we will be the first to let you know. So whether with an email or a blog post, we'll reach out to all of our users. This is not a OneSignal thing. It's directly from Apple that they have this closed off. We do hope that they open this up because obviously that'll open up a lot more capabilities to push. But at this point, we'll be able to have that functionality where Web Push will go directly into OneSignal. Robert, last question. Can you briefly describe the partnership announcement with Microsoft App Center? So yes, we are Microsoft's exclusive Web Push or App Push provider. So you can either use Microsoft's internal notification system, or they give you the ability to use OneSignal. So can't go too much into it, but with that being said, if you do have an app through Microsoft, you do have the ability of setting up your notifications through OneSignal and getting them sent out directly, and we are their exclusive partner for this. Let's see if there's anything more in the chat. Perfect. Thank you guys so much for taking the time for the webinar. We look forward to assisting any and all of you. Of course, as always, you can reach out directly at support@OneSignal for any technical questions. Most of them can be found in our documentation, but we can also help you on different case-by-case bases. If you need any questions with sales, you can reach out to sales@onesignal.com. I'm going to put both of these in the chat window here, so to all panelists. So we have sales@onesignal.com, and then we also have support@onesignal.com. If you guys have any questions in the future, please feel free to reach out. My name is Thomas, and we are looking forward to hearing from you guys soon. Have a great rest of your day or rest of your night, and we look forward to seeing you again on our next webinar. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining.